Hello everyone, this is Ankit Jain. I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. This is day 44 of our LWC Bootcamp series. In this session, we will explore how you can update the data table rows, and also we will see how you can add the picklist field, which is one of the common requirement whenever we are working for the business, where they are looking for the picklist drop down on the data table. So we will explore that part as well. Before we get started, a quick intro about me. My name is Ankit Jain. I do have more than 10 years of experience in the Salesforce ecosystem, where I got an opportunity to work on the different clouds of the Salesforce, including the Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, CPQ, Billing, as well as on the Financial Services Cloud. I do have my majority of the technical expertise on the LWC as well as on the integration. If you folks likes to connect with me, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on the LinkedIn, and also you can join this Telegram group where we generally discuss all the queries. You will get the links of all these channels in the video description. So let's get started with the today's topic. So what are different things that you have to do at the data table so that you can perform the edit operations on the data table rows. So there are three specific things that you need to do. First is in the column definition, you have to specify the editable as true. Next thing that you have to do here is on the lightning data table, you have to use the save event, right? So for example, if you are making this editable as true, as soon as you started editing the rows, automatically the save button and the cancel button will come up on the data table. What you have to do here is on the click of the save button, you have to go and perform the update operation. This update operation you can do with the help of wire adapters, or you can also do with the help of Apex programming, right? So when this update operation will be called whenever user clicked on the save button. So you have to write down that logic under the on save event. Here on the click of on save, or on the click of the save button, you can execute the JavaScript method. Next thing that we have to do here is, here we have to store the draft value. Now what is draft value? For example, let's say I am modifying a contact and the modified value for that contact is Ankit. Right now I need to store that modified value somewhere, right? And this is where this draft values will come up. So whenever the user will go and edit a particular cell on the data table, the updated values will be stored in the draft value. So let's go and see this part, how we can create the data table and implement the editing on the data rows. So what we will be doing at the end of the session here is, we will be creating this data table where the table will be loaded all the related records for an account. Here you can see that under this account I do have this table, so it will load all the related records or the related contacts of that account. Here we do have the edit functionality available, where the user can go and edit the record, and as soon as the edit operation has been done, user can go and click on save here, so that you can see that the values will be saved, and here we are getting the updated value. It's not like you can edit only one row. For example, let's say here I am putting the value as Suraj, here I am putting the value as John. You can go and update the multiple rows as well, and after that here you can go and save the changes. So this is what we have to implement. So let's get started by navigating to the editor. So in my org, I do have one class which is named as the contact controller, and in that class I have already written one method, that is the get contact based on account. This method is at the rate aura enabled with the value specified as cacheable equal to true, and this method is accepting one parameter, that is the account ID. So based on the account ID that we are passing, we are getting the record. I am fetching all these columns with this filter criteria. Very simple query, there is nothing complex here, right? Based on the account ID, we have to go and fetch that record. Now we will load these records on our data table. So here I go and create my lightning component. I am naming that component here as the edit data table rows, and here I go and open that. Now the next thing that I have to do here is, uh, I have to make a call to this method. So here I go and do that. So here I am importing this method from @salesforce slash apex slash contact controller dot get contact based on the account. Right, I'm making a call to this method with the help of wire decorator. So make sure that you do have this wire imported here, and this is the method that I have to call. To this method I have to pass one parameter, The parameter that my method is expecting is the account ID. So here I am putting the account ID. What I have to pass here to this to this account ID, I need to pass the record ID. So here I go and accept the record ID. Right? Again, as I am using the API decorator here, we have to make sure that we are importing this API decorator as well. So here I go and pass that record ID. I have to make sure that I am passing that as a reactive variable. So as soon as the record ID is available, this function will be called. And what I am doing here is I'm storing the output of this function wire method in the function. So let me put here get contact output, and here it does have the two things. First is the data and second is the error. Here I am checking that if I am getting the data, then I will go and store the data, else if I am getting an error, then for the timing I am simply logging the error. So here I go and put error while loading records. Right, let me go and close this. Whatever the data that I am getting, I'm storing that data into one of the property. Let me put here that property name as the contact data, initializing it with the blank, and here I go and put that data. So this dot contact data is equal to data. Right, now whatever the data that we have received, I have to display that data on the data table. So let me navigate to the HTML file, and here I go and define my data table. So first thing I am checking here whether the data is available in the contact data or not. If the data is available with the help of Lightning Data Table, I am displaying the data. If we are using the Lightning Data Table, we have to specify the key field. In my scenario, the key field is the ID, so I have to put the ID here. Next, I have to specify the data. The data is available in the contacts data, and the last thing that I have to specify here is the column. So let's say my column is available in the columns property, and here I go and define that column property. I am putting that as a constant. You can also use directly as the property, but let me put that as a constant first, and here you go and define the column structure, and after that you can access that columns in the property as well. So columns is equal to columns columns, right? In this way you can access that constant. Now to get the column structure, a basic template of the column, I am navigating to my component library, and here I am looking for the data table. From here I am simply getting the basic structure of the column. So let me go and copy that structure from here. Let me make a copy from here, and I am putting this on my component. Right, it is the array of table. Now here what all the different columns that I have to show. Let's say I have to display the first name, last name, I have to display the title, I have to display the phone, as well as the email. Label is something that you can give anything, but the field name you have to make sure that you are giving the exact API name. Again, make sure folks, field name is the case sensitive, so whenever you are putting the field name, make sure that you are putting the correct case as well. Right, here I am putting the title, phone, as well as the email. Right, now coming to the third field, that is the type. In this scenario, for me the type is the text. For the last name, it is not URL. If you are not putting any type, then the default type is the text, so I'm taking out that from here. Again, title, it is of again type text, so I'm taking out the type from here. Here for the phone number, the type that I want to put here is the phone, and for the email, I want to put the type here as the email. Right, so I have put all the different details that we require to load the data table. Let's go and expose this component. So here I go and expose this component, defining the target here as the record page, and let me go and deploy this. Let me go and check now whether the component is available correctly or not. So here I go and edit it and add that component. The component that I have created here is the edit data table rows. What I am doing here is I am dragging and dropping that component here and clicking on save. you can see that my component is loaded with the correct rows here. My component is loaded with the correct rows. Right. Now the next thing that I have to do here is, okay, let me go and refresh this. Not sure. Okay, one thing, you can see that I do have the two contacts available and the two rows are also loaded here. Right. Now the next thing that I have to do here is I have to make all these columns editable. Right. Again, to make the columns editable, we discussed that the first thing that we have to do here is we have to define the property editable as true at the column level. So let's go and do that first. So here I'm navigating to the columns and I'm specifying the property here as editable as true. Here also I'm doing the same thing. Here also I'm doing the same thing. Editable as true and putting the editable as true. So this is what we have to do. We have to specify the property as editable as true. Next thing we have to do here is we have to define the save button here so that on the click of the save button we can execute the handler. So what I am doing now is I'm navigating to the HTML file and here I'm specifying the on save event and here I'm executing the save handler. Let me go and define that save handler again on my JavaScript file. Now the next thing that I have to do here is I have to define this draft value as well. So again I am navigating back to my HTML file and defining the property here as the draft values and I am storing that draft values into one of the property. Let's say draft values, right? And I am defining that property again on my HTML file. I am initializing this with the blank. Okay. Now coming to the save handler part. Now to save the record, as I said, we do have the two options. We can use the update record adapter, right? That is nothing but the wire adapter, or we can make the apex call as well. We can define the apex class and we can make the call as well. Right, with the help of update record adapter, there is no need to write down the apex. We can directly perform the update operations with the help of wire adapter. In this example, I will show you how to do that with the help of update record wire adapter. Right, to get this implemented, right, what I have to do first is I have to go and access the draft values. How I can access the draft values? To access the draft values, we have to use event dot detail dot draft values. What we have to do here is to access the draft values, that means the values that user have edited, we can access that values by using the event.detail.draft values. What I am doing here is I am storing that value into one of the variable. Let me go here and put the let records is equal to event.detail.draft values. Now this is what it will return. It will return the array of modified records, right? It will return me the array of modified record. But as I said, I have to use the update record adapter, and whenever we have to use the update record adapter, as I have already covered in one of the previous session, this update record adapter, we have to specify the input in the specific form. Right, again I am opening the documentation to refer it. You have to go and import this update record wire adapter and you have to specify here the list of fields that you want to update. If you take a look of this example, we have also covered in the previous example as well. You have to specify here the fields that you want to update. Here you can see we have to go and pass the object with the property name as field. But here we are not getting the output in this form. So what we have to do here is we have to go and transform it into the form that we can pass it to the update record adapters. And there are different ways to do it. One of the way to do here is we can do that by iterating over the record. So let me go and iterate over the record. So here I go and put records dot map. Let me get the current item first. And from the current item, what I am doing here is I am uh, let me do this with the help of spread operator. We have already covered the spread operator in the past. So whatever the record that we have received, I am putting that record into the one of the spread operator. Let me put that record into the field input, and this is where I do have my current item. Right, now the next thing that I am doing here is this field input. Right, I have to put that into the fields, because as I said here, we have what we have to pass here is the fields whenever we have to perform the update operation. What we have to pass here to the record update record is the object. So that's why I'm putting here the object in the return, and in the object the property name will be the field. So here we have to make sure that we are using the exact property name as field, right? But again, here this is an array, so what we have to do here is we have to go and store that into the one of the property. So let me go and put here the uh, update records array, right? Update records array. Now, the next thing that we have to do here is, now we got our input in the form that we have to pass for the update operation. Now we go and iterate over these inputs and perform that update operation, right? So before I go and do that, one thing that I like to do here is, as we have extracted the values from these draft values, so let's me go and clear the draft values, right? So here I go and clear that draft values. After that, I started iterating over this updated records array. So here I go and put updated records array followed by the map, and here I do have my current item. So I am getting the current item from here, right? And to perform the update operation, we have to use the update record. As I am using the IntelliSense, we have to make sure that the update record is imported here, and with this updated record, what you have to pass to perform the operation is the record. To perform the operation, here you have to go and pass the record. But again, this update record operation is the, sorry, not the record, the current item. But again, this update record operation, it is an asynchronous operation, right? So either you can use the promise or you can use the async await. Here I am using the async await to do that. Okay, so I'm waiting here till all the promises are resolved, because there can be more than one record that is processing for update. So I have to wait until all the promises are resolved. For that, I am using the method here, that is the promise, sorry, dot all. Okay, and what I am doing here is I am storing this output again into one of the variable. Let me put that variable here as the update records promise. So here I am waiting till all the promises are resolved, right? Here I am waiting till all the promises are resolved. Once all the promises are resolved, right, what I will do here next is I will go and display the success message. Again, to display the success message, you can go here and display the toast event. So again, first I am importing this toast event from the documentation. And the next thing that I am doing here is I am using here the toast event parameter to display that message. So here I go and put the title as success, and in the message I am putting here the toast or records updated successfully. Here I am putting the value as records updated successfully. Now, the next thing that I have to do here is I have to go and dispatch the event. So I do have my event available here. So that also looks good. And we are dispatching that event as well. Okay, so this variable is coming as common. So what I will do here is, here I go and put the uh, name as toast event. And here I go and dispatch the toast event. Right? Because this way, otherwise this variable name and the other variable name is coming as common. I'm doing that so that we don't have that kind of an issue. Another property that I like to add here is the variant, and I'm putting here the variant as success variant, right? Let me go and deploy till here, and we will check whether the functionality is working as expected or not. So here I go and refresh the page one more time. So the expectation here is now the records should be editable, right? And the records should be updated as well. So again, as of now, for the Ankit, the title is coming up as engineering. Let me change this to trainer, and here I go and click on save. Right here you can see that the value is updated here, right? So I can see that my update functionality is working as expected, but here still it is showing the engineering. So I have to make sure that my data table is also updated with the change value, right? In my production org, it is getting updated successfully, or at my database level it is getting updated successfully. I am also getting the message. You guys can observe here one more time. Let me put here the role this time as an architect and click on save. Right here you can see I'm getting the success message. Here also I am getting the title as architect, but here it is still showing the engineering. So what we have to do here is we have to update the data table. In the past session, if you folks recall, we discussed that whenever we are performing the update operation, we have to use the refresh apex to update the, or to inform the apex class to again reload the data, right? Because here now I have to let the apex class know that they have to again call the method and get the updated data, because we have performed the updated operations on that data. And for that, what we do use the concept of refresh apex. Again, how to use the refresh apex? The first thing that you have to do here is, here you have to go and import the refresh apex from the Salesforce apex module. So here I go and perform that operation, import refresh apex from Salesforce slash Apex module. Right? I have to go and perform the refresh Apex. Now the next thing that I have to do here is, to the refresh Apex, I have to pass the output that I am getting from my wire decorator. Right? But again, as of now, we are not storing that output. We are putting that into the destructured object. So what I will do here is, then I go and put that under the destructured object. Here I am capturing the response into one parameter, and I am storing that into the one of the property. So let me put here that contact refresh property, right? And again, let me go and put that value here. Now the next thing what I am doing here is, whatever the result that I am getting, here I go and put that result into the this dot contact refresh property is equal to result, right? Here I am putting that property as the contact refresh property result. And now here I go and change that. As of now, I was directly referring it from the data, but as I am storing the value in the result, so I will go and put here the result dot data, and also I am putting here the result dot error. So whatever the output that I have retrieved, I am storing that into the result, and here I go and put it. Now the next thing that we have to do here is, in the contact refresh property, I have to make a call to perform the update operation. So here again I am using the await refresh apex, and here I am passing the this dot contact refresh property, right? So that this what this refresh apex will do, this refresh apex will let this property know where this, how this property is populated from this wire decorator, right? So it will let this wire decorator know to make another apex call, right? Get the updated data. Let's check whether this functionality is working as expected or not. Here I go and deploy this. Coming back to the editor, let me go and refresh the changes. Let's validate now. So again, I am changing this from architect to engineer, clicking on save. Here you can see that now my title is updated immediately as well. Here also it is updated, and here also it is updated. Now the next thing that I am doing here is, here also I am changing the title as well. So just to revalidate the functionality is working as expected or not. So here I go and change this to architect and click on save. Here you can see that here also the value is updated, and here also the value is updated. This is how we can perform the inline edit operation to go and update the rows, right? Now in the next part, what we will be seeing here is, there is one more field that we will be adding on the data table, which is nothing but the pick list field, right? So how to add the pick list field? This picklist field addition knowledge, it will definitely require the knowledge of part 1, right? So before coming to the part 3, folks, make sure that you have completed the part 1 and also the part 2, because the part 3 is going to be the combination of both the parts, right? So here You have to use the knowledge what we have covered in the part 1. You have to also use the knowledge whatever we are covering in the part 2, where I will show you how you can add the pick list field on the data type. Okay. I hope you folks found this session helpful and got the new learning about the data table as well. In case you do have any questions or any queries, you can definitely let me know in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good time, folks.